Hey there, Cozy Babe, and welcome back to the coziest corner of the internet. My name is Kloee Taylor, and today we are going to be getting a little bit of hope. I feel like the world could just use more of that right now. Feeling a lot of intensity in the collective energy, and I asked myself what I wanted to come back and record after taking a much needed break to move into my new space. I feel like right now we could all just use some hope. So this is going to be a pick a card where we're just going to be tapping into that hopeful energy. And I just want to remind y'all before we even get into the selections that hope is something that never actually goes away. I want to say that it was John or Hank Green talked about how somebody wrote into them and asked when they were feeling hopeless how they could reconnect with that, or how to feel hope when things feel hopeless. And they said something really beautiful that I don't even know if it was their original work. I wish I could find the original thing, but basically that hope is this kind of background hum that when we stop listening to it, we don't hear it and it seems like it's not there, but it actually never stops. And it's all about getting reacquainted and reconnected with the energy of hope because it's always available. So that's what we're going to focus on with this reading. And I'm so excited to get into it. So pile number 1, we have a blue, I believe this is like an aura quartz of some kind. Actually got it from Bow Life. Really fantastic crystal. We have this one. What are you? I always forget. It's a specular hematite, this one. Please focus. There we go. It's kind of got a lot of crystal flecks in it, or glitter flecks in it. And then we also have this piece of citrine that is an actual piece of citrine. None of that amethyst that's been fired to look like citrine. So you can choose off of the crystals, you can choose off of vibes, you could listen to all three if you want to. It is completely up to you. I do need to remind y'all that today's video is in fact sponsored by Tarot Stack. So stick around for that in a little bit. And I just want to take a moment also to thank all of you that do listen to the ad reads because they support this entire channel and everything that I do. And I think they're a really great fit for our channel. So thank you so much for supporting a small business as well as myself. I appreciate it. And now I'm going to go ahead and get into each pile, starting from pile number 1. If you need a little more time, feel free to pause the video to make a selection. The timestamps for each pile will be listed down below. All right, pile number 1, if you chose the blue aura quartz, this is going to be your reading. Now, before we get into it, we do need to pause for a brief moment to talk a little bit about our sponsor today. Thanks so much Tarot Stack for sponsoring today's video. Now, for this, I actually want to talk to you about a couple of decks that are available on tarotstack.com right now. So if you don't know what Tarot Stack is, they are an online tarot retail store where you can get indie tarot decks that you can't find anywhere else. And I love them so much. I genuinely wish, we're talking about these decks in particular, I can't wait to show them to you. We're going to use them in today's reading as well. I wish that decks like this had existed when I was first getting into tarot professionally, because look at this. Are you kidding? So first of all, the packaging, beautiful. This sits on your shelf. It looks like a little book, comes with this protective sleeve. It's got a magnetic closure here. We've got the gold embellishment on the outside of the box. You open it, you have this beautiful, look at this book. This is the book basically if you need help defining the cards if you don't know. It comes with this huge, beautiful, also got the gold embellishment there on the guidebook. It's got these little pull tabs for each side of the deck, which both of these halves come together to make a full tarot deck. So take both of those out. And look at this. These cards are oh my gosh, are you kidding? Look at the art. Look at the art of these cards. Okay, but the main thing I wanted to get to is that I wish something like this had existed when I first started reading tarot cards, because if you'll notice, on each card, there are little keywords up here and little symbols. And then, of course, the beautiful artwork as well. But those keywords on the top and bottom, they are the reversed meaning keywords as well as the upright meaning of each card. So if you're a beginner in tarot, or you want to get somebody into tarot this holiday season, or you just want a deck that is really easy to define, this deck is so good. It's like so good for a beginner. And it comes in both this lighter version, which is so, so, so pretty. And then it also comes, of course, in a darker version. And I'll show that to you as well, just so you can see. They're the exact same. One is just lighter and one is just darker, but comes with all the same stuff. And I'll just pull half of this one out to show it to you. But like, are you kidding? Look at how beautiful. So pretty. So, so, so pretty. And just so easy to read. So if you're looking for a gift or, like I said, something for yourself this holiday season, I just really feel like the Lucid Dreams Tarot Beginner Tarot Deck and Guidebook by Saint Solil. I apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it's just such a great set. Both sets are so beautiful. And I also feel like something that needs to be noted is the cards themselves are also just like really high quality on like really good card stock. Like they feel so good in the hands. I always feel that way about all decks from Tarot Stack, to be honest, but both of these decks will be linked down below. We're going to use them in your reading today, along with some other tarot decks as well from Tarot Stack. So if you're looking for a gift this holiday season, something for yourself or something for a beginner, I feel like this deck, honestly, whether you're a beginner or not, is just a good one for the collection. So definitely check it out. And thank you so much, Tarot Stack. Let's go ahead and get into your reading. All right, let's get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and put your crystal up over here, and we're going to start with those cards that I was just showing to you. We're going to set these aside. We'll get to your oracle cards in a little bit. So starting out, it looks like we have the Seven of Cups, which these cards are even more beautiful in person because of the foiling, I would say. We'll start out with the Seven of Cups. We have the Three of Wands. Ooh, the Three of Swords. The Five of Swords. And the Devil. Interesting. Okay. Bestie, I really get the sense that you have felt like there has just been a lot of chaotic energy. Whether this is actual chaos going down in your life, like you've just experienced a lot of things happening this past month, I'm hearing, or it's possibly more along the lines of like, I want to say it really is like this past month. I feel like you have really had just a lot of chaotic energy, and not necessarily you, but things surrounding you have felt like a lot. And I say that because the Seven of Cups, it is a lot of, it's chaotic. It's chaotic. The Seven of Cups can be fun if you're really embracing a lot of the different opportunities in front of you. But because we have this paired with the Three of Swords and the Devil, I really see this as maybe some unwelcomed chaos. A lot of things coming up all at once. Like, I'm hearing for some of you, this could have been like, and this is all like past tense. This isn't like stuff that's coming. For some of you, this could have been like medical emergencies, family medical emergencies. I'm also hearing like some of you have possibly even experienced like loss of a pet. There has been a lot of heartbreak, loss, and almost this sense of like, how can I even move forward with this? I feel like Scorpio season, I mean, my readings are always meant to be timeless, but I feel like if you're listening to it as it's right now, like Scorpio season really came in here and messed with a lot of us. I don't know one person that has had like an amazing Scorpio season. Every single person I know has experienced some form of intense grief. And I do feel though that this is something that right now you are meant to feel it. And that's not like oh my gosh, feel your feelings, haha. Like, I'm not trying to be lighthearted about this in any way. What I mean is that sometimes we can't know what we don't know, and we can't see what we can't see yet because the bigger picture hasn't been revealed yet. And I'm not saying that you were supposed to go through all of this or anything like that. I'm not trying to make any broad statements about your current situation because I can see that it's been hard. And I think you just need somebody to be gentle with you and tell you it's okay. I mean, shoot, I think one of the rudest things someone has ever said to me when I was already down was my previous landlord looked me dead in the eyes and was like, life doesn't just stop, after I explained to her how many terrible things had happened this year for me, which I'm not going to get into right now. And I feel like how sad to live your life with that idea that when you go through something really hard that your life doesn't go on some kind of a pause. How sad to live a life where you feel like you can't do that. And I don't, that is also the reality for some people, that you can't. But I promise you that work will be there tomorrow. The family will be there tomorrow. I mean, I can't promise you that. Like, obviously sometimes accidents happen, but the work will most likely be there tomorrow. The family will most likely be there tomorrow. Like, it's okay to be kind and gentle to yourself when you feel like this much havoc has come in. Because I also see with the Five of Swords, instead of embracing this as it's just a season and it will end, you're starting to embrace this as a victim mentality. And listen, I'm the first person that will tell you there's nothing wrong with being a victim of circumstance. You have to be the victim before you can ever show up as the hero. It's a normal part of life. And I think there are a lot of people out there that will tell you, like, chin up, don't be sad, don't play the victim, which, don't get me wrong, don't pack up and live there. Okay. Don't make your entire life story about how you're so victimized. But it's important to go through that stage of feeling like a victim and feeling sorry for yourself so that you can then embrace, okay, but what can come next? I promise you, this is something I feel like I can promise. I promise you, there is light at the end of this. There is light. Your life will turn over a new leaf. This is just a season. It is not something that is going to overshadow your entire life. And I think that's something that actually human nature does that is so difficult, and none of us know how to properly move through it, I feel like. But it is common knowledge in the psychological world that most people, if not all people, I feel like saying all is I try not to use words like that, but I would say that it's more like most people. It is human nature. Okay. It is human nature to always think that bad times are going to last forever. It is also human nature to think, if I allow myself to feel this feeling, I'm going to be here forever and I'm never going to get up again. And I promise you that's not how it works. In fact, science tells us that it takes 90 seconds to process an emotion. If we let ourselves feel it as intensely as it wants to come up, it would take 90 seconds and you could move on. And most of us, myself included, I'm not perfect at this. Most of us will spend our entire lives trying to run away from that feeling. Just the other day, if y'all didn't know, on this channel, I'm a story healer. I love sharing stories to especially help my neurodivergent people understand the readings a little bit better, as a neurodivergent myself. But just the other day, I was in my kitchen, just like doing dishes, and I was feeling so down. And I was just like, what is this? Why do I feel like this? Why has this just been this constant cloud? And I asked myself the question, and take this question, okay? What am I avoiding feeling? And that was the question that came up, is my higher self like jumped in and was like, what are you avoiding feeling right now? And I'm not saying this to like garner sympathy. I really think I actually worked through it in this moment, but I was like, I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed that I'm 33. I just moved from a house into an apartment. I just moved to a new city. I thought my life was going to go in a completely different direction right now. And I feel like for the first time in my life is not going in the trajectory that I had planned. And literally, I can honestly tell you my entire life, I'm not saying I haven't been thrown curveballs, but this is the first time in my life that I had a plan and a desire and a dream and a wish, and it didn't work out. Usually I'm like the master at manifesting everything. This is the first time that life kind of stepped in and blindsided my ass. And I just wasn't expecting it. It came out of left field. And I said, okay, let's feel that. Right now, I'm home alone. I'm in the kitchen. I said, let's feel it. Let that feeling come out all the way. And I had a little cry for like, it probably took 45 seconds. It didn't even take 90 seconds. Probably took 45 seconds. I let myself feel it. I let my heart feel broken. And then I was like, oh, that was all that I needed. I just needed to see it and acknowledge it and say, hey, this is really disappointing. I'm so disappointed by the cards that I have been dealt right now. Maybe that's all that you need, is just to acknowledge that it's disappointing. The cards we have been dealt are disappointing. Where you're at in your life feels disappointing and you're tired of that. It's okay to hear your own story. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with you either. I think you just need to be told that there's nothing inherently wrong with you. I think that's a false belief that a lot of us can fall prey to as well. But I also want to remind you that there is a lot of hope with this Three of Wands coming out. The Three of Wands says that from this place, you're being given a clean slate to start over. I think you've been really afraid to dream a new dream for a long time, and you're being given the opportunity eventually, not maybe today, not maybe tomorrow, when it feels right for you. You're being given the opportunity to dream again, and to do it from a place where you're not so scared anymore. Because I think that's the thing too, is sometimes when our worst fears come to light, yeah, they might leave us feeling broken and traumatized, but sometimes they also help us to know like, that thing that I was so afraid of, I went through that and I came out okay. And maybe I can do things now without that fear being in my way. So I do feel like with that Three of Wands, that is literally hope on the horizon and knowing that things will improve. Okay, next up we have the card Murky Water for you. And then we also have Every Step Counts. So murky water, I mean, I feel like unfortunately, this is just kind of where you are right now. You are in this setting of murky water where things don't really feel clear. You're not really sure why it had to happen the way it happened. You're not really sure why you're being led down this path, or why you, right? You're not really sure. But here's the thing. When you go through enough of that murky water, it's not like you're sitting in a swamp, okay? You're in a river. Maybe you've been in a little divot where it's been unclear. Eventually you're going to crawl out and find the stream again. You will eventually hit the stream. You will be made clean again. And I don't mean that in like a religious way. You will be made clean again by feeling like those things that have had power over you just won't anymore. And every step counts. Listen, bestie, I'm hearing that you are so focused on how did I get here? That's like the phrase that has been playing in your mind. How did I get here? It doesn't matter how you got here. That's already over. That's already done. It's in the past. It doesn't matter how you got there. Like, granted, sometimes, yes, understanding how we got somewhere can be important so we don't get there again if it's somewhere we don't want to be. But something you need to know is that it doesn't matter how you got there. It matters that you start taking steps to get away from there. It matters more the path ahead of you that you have control over. You don't have control to change the past, but you can step forward into the future and do something different. You can slowly start to change those habits, change yourself, change your circumstances. What matters more is those small little loving steps that you take each and every day. Doesn't mean they have to be the same every day, but those small steps that you take, those are the things that matter. It doesn't matter how you got here. You could sit there for 5 more years questioning how you got there. Instead, why not question, how can I leave here? How can I change from this situation instead? If you don't like where you are, you're not stuck. I promise you, you're not stuck. There is always a different way. The path will always be cleared. Oh my gosh. As if divine intervention, our next card is you're on the right path. You're on the right path. This is the coconut octopus, and it says keep going through the in-betweens. So I think you also just need reassurance right now, pile number one, that you are on the right path right now. You are going through the right motions. You are doing the right thing. You are making the right choices. And I know that you're scared because you're doing things differently now. You're doing things from a different vantage point. And that feels scary because you are afraid to go back to where you've been, but it doesn't matter. You have no control over changing that. And then we have shiny and new longhorn cowfish. Expect a valuable gift. So I also feel like it's important to note that you're also going to be made shiny and new. Again, it is human nature to think that suffering will never end, that a period of darkness will never end, that we will be habitually caught in this thing that we don't want to be in forever. And the reality is, it lasts a lot less than we think. It is a lot shorter than we ever could imagine. And I just want to reiterate to you, bestie, if you let yourself feel it, if you let yourself fully feel it all the way, sometimes it only takes 90 seconds to free yourself. Okay. Oh my gosh. You're being given so much hope, pile number 1. We also have change, a new season of life. This is so beautiful for right now too, because I don't know where you live. You might live where right now it's summer for you, right? I want to say in Australia, it's like Australian summer right now. But in many parts of the world, it's also the winter time right now. And many places experience daylight savings where the nights are longer. And with change, a new season of life, this is a beautiful opportunity right now to ask yourself, what do you want to bring in with this new season? We are technically in a transitory season right now. Actually, if you want to get real technical, we're still in fall and spring. Like some people, depending on where you live, will be experiencing spring right now. Some people are experiencing fall. Summer and winter are next. Now, for me, I'm already deep into the winter feels, okay? Where I live, daylight savings happened. It's dark at like 5 o'clock now. And to me, that is the signal of winter for me. That is the signal of my hibernation time. And you'll notice that on my YouTube channel, I haven't uploaded in like 2 weeks because I've been readjusting to like a new space. I've been sleeping a lot more because the days are shorter. Like I've been like assessing that and turning towards a new season instead of freaking out and trying to keep myself the same for every single season of life that comes my way. And it's okay to embrace change. It's okay to embrace new and different. It might feel scary at first because it's new, but you're being given a new opportunity here. You're being given a brand new beginning. I promise you, the way that things have been, it will not always be this way. And I think you just need to hear that from somebody else. It will not always be this way. It will not always be this way. That is one sure thing that you can always guarantee and count on, is that things always change. Whether you're in a really blessed chapter of your life right now or a really terrible chapter right now, it doesn't mean that you need to be afraid of losing the blessed chapter. It's actually very beautiful to embrace things as they come, because all things do end. There is nothing that is permanent. Everything changes. Nature shows that to us over and over and over again. And I don't know why we're all out here thinking we're not part of nature when we absolutely are. If this is something that you really feel like you need more on, like you want me to zero in on this, I just uploaded a podcast. It's audio format only right now. As I've been adjusting to my new space, we're just not back to videos yet. But it's called the Cozy Babes Club. If you want to give it a listen, it's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. It's my like winter arc episode talking about how to embrace the season that is up and coming and how you can do that without being so hard on yourself. So I feel like that might be a good episode for you to listen to if you want to. Link for that down below. Or you can just search the Cozy Babes Club. It's on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, like literally anywhere you listen to podcasts, it's available. But that is the reading that I have for you, pile number 1. So I hope this gave you some hope and some things to think about. I would encourage you, I feel like your reading really could use like a good journal sesh. I feel like I would encourage if you could make some time in your day today to like sit down with yourself, or if you feel like you've been avoiding your own feelings, ask yourself what feeling you've been avoiding. What have you been avoiding feeling right now? Because I promise that's what sets you free, is that. And Thank you so much to Tarot Stack for sponsoring today's video. If you would like to support me around the web, I do accept tips for my readings, all that information down below. I have my podcast, I have my Patreon where I'm currently working on a November vlog. So if you want like personalized content, stuff that's not all just tarot card reading, but like more behind the scenes stuff, Patreon's a great place for that, as well as you get more pick-a-cards, more astrology information, something like there's several new videos that go up on Patreon every single month. So definitely check it out. It's a great way to support me as a creator. And I also have all my social medias. I'm at Kloee Taylor everywhere. My podcast, which I already talked to you about, the Cozy Babes Club. And thank you so much for tuning in. I love and appreciate you. And please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Bye. All right, pile number 2, if you chose the specular hematite, this is going to be your reading. And before we get into it, we need to take a moment to pause and hear a word from today's sponsor. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. Now, for this, I actually want to talk to you about a couple of decks that are available on tarotstack.com right now. So if you don't know what Tarot Stack is, they are an online tarot retail store where you can get indie tarot decks that you can't find anywhere else. And I love them so much. I genuinely wish, like, we're talking about these decks in particular. I can't wait to show them to you. We're going to use them in today's reading as well. I wish that decks like this had existed when I was first getting into tarot professionally, because look at this. Are you kidding? So first of all, the packaging, beautiful. This sits on your shelf. It looks like a little book. Comes with this protective sleeve. It's got a magnetic closure here. We've got the gold embellishment on the outside of the box. You open it, you have this beautiful, look at this book. This is like the book, basically, if you need like help defining the cards, if you don't know. It comes with this huge, beautiful, also got the gold embellishment there on the guidebook. It's got these little pull tabs for each side of the deck, which both of these halves come together to make a full tarot deck. So take both of those out. And look at this. These cards are like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? Look at the art. Look at the art of these cards. Okay, but the main thing I wanted to get to is that I wish something like this had existed when I first started reading tarot cards, because if you'll notice, on each card, there are little keywords up here and little symbols. And then, of course, the beautiful artwork as well. But those keywords on the top and bottom, they are the reversed meaning keywords as well as the upright meaning of each card. So if you're a beginner in tarot, or you want to get somebody into tarot this holiday season, or you just want a deck that is like really easy to define, this deck is so good. It's like so good for a beginner. And it comes in both this lighter version, which is so pretty. And then it also comes, of course, in a darker version. And I'll show that to you as well, just so you can see. They're the exact same. One is just lighter and one is just darker, but comes with all the same stuff. And I'll just pull half of this one out to show it to you. But like, are you kidding? Look at how beautiful. So pretty. So pretty. And just so easy to read. So if you're looking for a gift, or like I said, something for yourself this holiday season, I just really feel like the Lucid Dreams Tarot Beginner Tarot Deck and Guidebook by Saint Solil. I apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it's just such a great set. Both sets are so beautiful. And I also feel like something that needs to be noted is the cards themselves are also just like really high quality on like really good card stock. Like they feel so good in the hands. I always feel that way about all decks from Tarot Stack, to be honest, but both of these decks will be linked down below. We're going to use them in your reading today, along with some other tarot decks as well from Tarot Stack. So if you're looking for a gift this holiday season, something for yourself or something for a beginner, I feel like this deck, honestly, whether you're a beginner or not, is just a good one for the collection. So definitely check it out. And thank you so much, Tarot Stack. Let's go ahead and get into your reading. All right, pile number 2, let's see what we have for you. So we're going to go ahead and move your crystal over here, And we're going to get into it starting from the cards that I just showed you. We'll get to your oracle cards a little bit later. But, ooh, first and foremost, we're starting out strong, y'all, with the World card. Love this for you. Then we have the Page of Wands. Love to see it. Then we have the Strength card. Okay, love it. We have the Seven of Cups. Interesting. Pile number 1 also had Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Swords. Double sevens. Okay. So, first and foremost, with the World showing up here, I love. I love because the World is a card that it's generally a very fortuitous card. It like speaks of things going your way, seeing success in your endeavors. If you've like started something new or you've been working towards something, it speaks of a lot of success and getting to this place of like having really high achievements while being able to like basically like lavish in that for a moment before a new cycle begins for you. So I feel like you are definitely at this point of completion with something, be it a job, a creative process. If you've been going through it, I feel like you kind of feel on the precipice of the precipice. That's what I was about to say. The precipice of something really changing for the better for you. And genuinely, I see this as the card is representational of like a reincarnation, like basically not actually reincarnation, right? Not literal, but for you, this is like incarnating into a new cycle. So starting a new chapter of your life that looks different from the last one. And I think you have a lot of like powerful, positive, happy momentum going into it. With the Page of Wands, I can see that you've had a lot of really amazing creative ideas. I think you're really excited and passionate and you're like gathering this information right now. With the Seven of Cups, I actually think this is more exciting, which is funny because in pile number 1, it read out like a little more chaotic. But for you, with so many positive cards surrounding this one, I ultimately feel that this is an exciting time for you. This is like you're seeing so many doors and opportunities open up for you that previously you would have never, like, it's almost like the real deal is like coming through. Like, I feel like it's almost like you have been trying things for years or maybe even doing something for years. And finally you are being given a brand new perspective. And it has like blown so many doors open for you because they were things that you didn't think were possible for you before. But now with this like new attitude, this new idea coming to a full culmination and completion for you, you're like, oh, actually, I can do this any way I want to. This is such a good and welcomed thing. I will say the Seven of Cups can get overwhelming sometimes. So just be careful with it. Like, sometimes when you have your hands in too many pots and you're excited about too many things, it's like the pots start to fall over and break instead of you being able to balance everything. Like it can lead you into taking on too much. So I would just say like, be mindful of that. I'm not saying that will happen. It's just, if you don't like narrow your focus a little bit, sometimes it can become the thing that is overwhelming. So just keep that in mind. With the Strength card, I actually think that you are finally in a position where you're like sitting with your demons. Okay. You and your demons are homies now. You are sitting with your demons. You are sitting with that, like the things that used to really freak you out and scare you. You're just like, oh no, we're chilling now. Like, for example, I am a story healer, so I love sharing stories when I read cards because I think that it makes the message really sink in. For example, in my own life, y'all know if you've been a long-term listener, follower, watcher of my content, that for about 3 years, on and off, I struggled with panic attacks really bad, especially in 2021. It was the worst. That was probably like the worst mental health year I've ever had in my entire life. I experienced things I'd never experienced before. It was really hard. And throughout that, I've had moments of like quote unquote relapse where I've gone back into having panic attacks again. And it feels really disheartening when that happens because you think, like, in that moment, I'm human. You're human if you're someone that experiences this. We think that all of our hard work is for nothing. And we go, oh my gosh, I thought I had healed and here I am again. But then this could be applied to anything in your life that you feel like is a consistent pattern. It doesn't have to be panic attacks. But I feel like I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'll never have a panic attack again. I'm not saying that I'll never have a mental health collapse again. What I am saying is that I feel like I'm in a place in my life right now where I'm finally starting to see relief from those things. And I'm not nearly as anxious as I used to be. I'm not depressed anymore. I'm not dealing with every day feeling like, oh my gosh, a panic attack might happen looming over me. And ultimately, the way that I did that was through a lot of therapeutic technique, but through also sitting with that part of myself and not being afraid of it. Getting to a place where I could say, hey, self, I know that you really want to panic right now. I know that you feel really intense overwhelm. You're feeling really stimulated. There's a lot of sensations coming up in your body that feel foreign or scary. But what if we weren't afraid of these things? What if this was just something that our body does to actually try to re-regulate something that has been dysregulated? And again, I'm not trying to say that I'm like the fucking all father and I know everything and that I have totally solved my mental health, but I do feel like I have a much higher capacity now to sit with that roaring lion that is like a panic attack and say, hey, maybe we just let ourselves ride this feeling out and we don't assign a bunch of stories to it. We don't assign how, because I feel like that's a lot of, at least for myself, I'll speak for me, when it comes to mental health stuff, a lot of how mine works is qualities that I assign to feelings instead of actually just letting myself feel something and then be done with it. And with the strength card coming out, to me, it's not about actual physical strength. It's an internal strength. And trust me when I tell you, if you're somebody that has never had a mental health breakdown, count your lucky stars. I'm so happy for you. I would never wish that on my worst enemy. I hope you never experience it. But people that have, you are a different kind of beast. Like, you have a different kind of strength about you that other people that have not experienced that do not have. You have a different kind of mental fortitude when you've overcome that. But I feel like the strength card showing up is a positive note of like, hey, look at how much you've overcome. Look at how much you've grown. Look at you over here thriving, sitting with those uncomfortable feelings, inviting them in for tea and being like, hey, it's okay that we feel this way. It doesn't have to mean anything. I think that takes an insurmountable amount of strength. And I think all of us are guilty of that. Not necessarily panic attacks, but like all of us are guilty of assigning stories to situations. Like, I sometimes, like, for another example, I sometimes deal with like social anxiety, right? And with social anxiety, I do think I've overcome a lot of it in my adult life. It used to be really bad and it still comes up, especially like around family. I think it is the worst for me. When I'm like in person with like family or extended family, I think it's the hardest for me. But I do feel that for the most part, like a lot of the fear of like unknown people or new people, I'm not really afraid of that anymore. And I don't know if that just was because I forced myself to do it more and more and more until I was like, why was I ever afraid of this? But like, that's what I mean. Like, you can overcome things. A lot of times it is going to be by making yourself do the thing. If you're someone that feels like you're not like through it yet, a lot of times it's going to come through exposure. And I'm not saying you need to go out tomorrow if you deal with panic attacks and do things that send you into a panic or do things that send you into fight or flight. You have to start a lot smaller than that. If I could say one more thing that I think would really articulate this strength card, that I think there's some wisdom in here for you, is that another example I have is, I will not say that, I don't know why I'm focusing so hard on mental health. I feel like some of y'all just really need to hear this stuff. Spirit is telling me to like use my own story to let you know that it won't always be like this and that there is hope that things can be different. I won't say that I had agoraphobia because I feel like I needed a proper diagnosis for that. But I do feel like knowing the context of agoraphobia, I feel like a lot of us probably have agoraphobic like tendencies post 2020 because of a lot of people being inside all the time, not socializing. It's very unhuman for us to not socialize because we are a social species. That is true. Before you are anything else as a human, we are a social species. And this is why like people that live the longest, we actually know this as well. There have been like areas that have been studied with people that live the longest. The reason they live the longest is because they meet communally all the time. Like we are a social species. The first thing you do out of the womb is cry for like basically to communicate. It's the first thing. We are a social species. Like deer are born and they literally walk first, right? But nah, us humans, we're crying. We're trying to communicate immediately. So we're a very social species. And so I feel like a lot of people probably struggle with this. I know that I'm not alone. And I got to a place where, I work from home. I can have my groceries delivered. I could literally never leave my house. I could fire up Amazon and order whatever I need. I could literally never leave my house if I didn't want to. And I feel like from that, I developed a lot of agoraphobic like tendency where I didn't want to leave my house because I was afraid of medical emergency which like funny enough, your house doesn't protect you from that. Like it doesn't make sense when you're in it, but it does in some capacity. But what I didn't do was force myself when I was dealing with that to get up and then go to a museum by myself. That would have been insane. I would have spiraled into a panic attack because I wasn't ready for that kind of exposure. What I did do, and I actually have vlogs of myself on my Patreon doing this. What I did do was I would go pick up like sushi from my local grocery store and then I would stay in my car and like park at the beach, because my car at least felt safer. And eventually, doing this over and over and over again, I got to a place where I could go to a restaurant by myself and I wasn't scared. I got to a point where I could go out to the beach and get out of my car and just sit on the beach by myself and I wasn't scared. But it took a lot of slow momentum to get there, is my point. So the strength card, I need you to know that this coming up in your reading, you have not done this over a short period of time. You have had to really evolve to where you are right now. And if you don't feel like this card is applying to you, that is your medicine, is that you need to ask yourself how you can slowly evolve to where and who you want to be. And lastly, the Seven of Swords, which we have other cards here too. We're not done. But the Seven of Swords showing up here, this tells me that I do think you need to be mindful of self-sabotage, because the Seven of Swords to me, it's often about that. Sometimes it's like in real life betrayal. We feel betrayed by someone, something's coming up there. But oftentimes it is a lot more about how we betray ourselves. And I just want to propose something to you. This comes from Mia Magic, who is another online content creator. I love her very much. She has a book. She's wonderful. If you don't know who she is, go look her up. Mia Magic, Magic with a K. She talks about how, and I fully support this idea because I've used it in my own life, that when you make a promise to yourself that you're going to do something, and then you don't follow through over and over and over, yeah, of course you're hurting yourself. We know that. That's obvious. But what I think people don't think about is you're actually hurting your inner child. You're hurting the part of you that is the most vulnerable when you don't build rapport and keep promises with yourself. And it's how you stop trusting yourself. You don't trust yourself because you don't keep the small, what maybe seems like insignificant promises to yourself. And in order to become someone that trusts yourself again, you have to start saying you're going to do things and then doing the things that you say. And this doesn't have to be hard. It can literally be, tomorrow when I wake up, the first thing I'm going to do is drink 10 sips of water. That could be your first thing. And then tomorrow morning, when tomorrow morning comes, that water is already on your bedside because you prepared it the night before, and you're going to take those 10 sips first thing in the morning. It can be remembering to take your vitamins. It could be something bigger, taking yourself for a walk every day after lunch or after dinner, whatever. It could be I'm going to go to 2 local events this month. And when those local events come, you set that date and you go. You know, the more that you keep those promises, whether they feel big or small, I would always encourage you to start small first. The more and more and more you start to trust yourself and you become a companion to yourself. You become the wise inner parent that that little child really needs. Because if you're always feeling unsteady, shaky, things don't make sense, you're always confused, you always feel lost, I promise you, this is the thing that will change your life. Like building rapport with that inner child, it will change your life. And there are going to be times where you're going to slip up. There are going to be times where you're not being your best inner parent. That's okay. It's normal. It's a part of the human experience. But just know that you can always circle back to it and like give love to that part of yourself that is the most vulnerable, that is probably the most afraid. And build that self-trust out. I feel like you have so much going for you right now, so much beautiful energy that don't let this be the thing that hinges everything off, that like takes everything off its hinges, basically. Okay. Now we have the card Stormy for you. Interesting. And then we also have Hope on the Horizon. Oh my gosh, I love this card. Okay. Which is funny because both of these cards kind of have a storm in them. I do feel like there is something where you might need to have an ugly cry. Okay. You might need to allow yourself to really feel some things that you've been repressing. That would be the storm. Learning to become calm in the middle of the storm, which is possible, by the way. That's why hurricanes have like the eye. The eye of the storm always looks and feels calm. But even when shit is circling up around it, right? There is a part of that storm that is calm. You can be the calm in the storm. The storm will pass. You don't try to control the storm. The storm will pass. You have to work more on what you're going to do, how you're going to feel. I honestly think, and I'm not going to get too heavily into this because that's not what my channel is for. I honestly would rather this be the place where you come to escape. But I think regardless of what you believe, because again, we're not getting into that, regardless of what you believe, what party you associate with, I'm not here to impress anything on anyone either about my own beliefs. Regardless of how you feel about it, I do feel like there is a lot of unrest in the collective regarding like current political climate. And I think this is where you need to start recognizing how powerful you actually are and stop giving your power away to that. Stop giving your power away. Stop engaging with it. Stop reading about it. Stop watching it. Put it down. Allow yourself to be the calm with yourself first, because I promise you, those headlines, they are paid to make them that way. I'm not saying don't be disappointed or don't be, whatever it feels like for you, whatever you're dealing with. I'm not saying don't feel those things. What I am saying is that if you're constantly saturating yourself in it every single day, this is your sign that you probably have a dysregulated nervous system, because the news is made to do that on purpose because it keeps you coming back. Like we literally know this back, like old studies that have been done. Granted, you're not a mouse or a hamster, but like we've done studies with mice, or I think it was mice where you like basically give them a lever and they'll keep pushing it even if nothing is coming because they're so used to it. Your nervous system becomes so accustomed to unrest that you'll automatically keep pushing and looking for that stimuli. You have to be the change. You have to be the calm that comes back. So start giving yourself that. Life is not supposed to be you feeling lost and upset all the time. Okay, then we have for you Siamese fighting fish. Your commitment is everything, even if that requires doing it alone. So you might also find with what I just said that you're surrounded by a lot of people that always want to push you into it. No matter what it is, something you don't really want to hear about, don't want to engage with, don't. Stay committed to your own peace. I promise you it's the best thing you'll do for yourself. Stay committed to your own peace no matter what. If that means that you don't call mom every day anymore, stop calling mom every day. Like call mom every few days, give it more space. I think at first it's harder when you want space from someone it can be harder in the beginning because they're going to push back harder, but eventually they start to get used to you being less available. I have done this with my own family. Not everyone. I talk to a lot of my family members still, but like I have a huge family. There are some people that I've done this with in my family. Like I used to talk to my mom probably every day as a kid. When I moved away for college, I talked to my mom maybe like 4 times a year. Like we just don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And the phone also works 2 ways and I'm not getting called either. So, I'm not trying to put my mom on blast right now. That's not the point of this. The point is like, even the relationships that if you feel like they're keeping you from being able to commit to your peace, you have to be the person that lays down the boundary, and it is going to be uncomfortable. That person probably is going to be mad that you're not giving the same time and attention that you were, but you have to be willing to sit through that uncomfortability, be the calm in the storm until you get the results that you want. And I think it's also valuable if this is like a friend to actually have a conversation with them. I understand that some people, like sometimes when it's family, they just won't listen to you. I know what that feels like. But if this is like a really good friend, it's also valuable to just have a conversation. Have a conversation about expectation. And even if y'all still don't see eye to eye, it's also okay to take less time. And then we have Marbled Electric Ray. You are electrifying. Allow your talent to do the talking. So back on the world and the Page of Wands, I do see that there's something creative that you're really wanting to pursue right now. And I think that you need to know that there's a lot of hope on the horizon. The universe has been aligning things in your life for this for a while. So take action on it. Then we have the Sun, conscious mind, masculine, and life force. I love seeing the Sun in any tarot card reading. It's a really positive omen for joy, things improving, situations improving, having a lot of lightness of being about you, more laughter, more fun. If you're going through it being spring where you live right now, obviously this could be the summer actually coming in with the sun. Maybe you live somewhere where it's really sunny as well. That could just be like another sign for you. But ultimately, even if it's the dead of winter, pulling the Sun card is like, I feel like you've been praying for a blessed chapter for a long time, and like it's finally here. You are finally turning over that leaf and it's here now. So I love this for you. And I hope this reading helped you out. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. If you'd like to find me around the web, I have my podcast, The Cozy Babes Club, available everywhere you listen to podcasts. I have my Patreon if you would like more personalized behind the scenes content, as well as I do astrology tarot reports there every single month, and I would love to have you there. It really supports me as a creator. I'm actually currently working on, I vlogged a little bit of my move, but I'm working on like actually making good vlogs like I used to. I feel like my last vlog was a lot of like stress energy because I was really going through it. But I'm working on a vlog for November that's like my first official like few days getting back into a routine in my new apartment. So if you want to see more like personalized content, definitely check out my Patreon. And I also have, of course, all my social medias. So I'm at Kloee Taylor on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, all the places. I'm at Kloee Taylor. And just all my links are down below. If you'd like to leave me a tip for this reading, that is available too down below. Of course, I always accept tips. And that's what I have for you. So thank you so much, pile number 2. I love you and best of luck out there. Don't give up on yourself. All right, pile number 3. If you chose the citrine, this is going to be your pile. And before we get into it, I want to do a quick pause and give you a word from our sponsor for the day. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. Now, for this, I actually want to talk to you about a couple of decks that are available on tarotstack.com right now. So if you don't know what Tarot Stack is, they are an online tarot retail store where you can get indie tarot decks that you can't find anywhere else. And I love them so much. I genuinely wish, like, we're talking about these decks in particular. I can't wait to show them to you. We're going to use them in today's reading as well. I wish that decks like this had existed when I was first getting into tarot professionally, because look at this. Are you kidding? So first of all, the packaging, beautiful. This sits on your shelf. It looks like a little book. Comes with this protective sleeve. It's got a magnetic closure here. We've got the gold embellishment on the outside of the box. You open it, you have this beautiful, look at this book. This is like the book basically if you need like help defining the cards if you don't know. It comes with this huge, beautiful, also got the gold embellishment there on the guidebook. It's got these little pull tabs for each side of the deck, which both of these halves come together to make a full tarot deck. So take both of those out. And look at this. These cards are like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? Look at the art. Look at the art of these cards. Okay, but the main thing I wanted to get to is that I wish something like this had existed when I first started reading tarot cards, because if you'll notice, on each card, there are little keywords up here and little symbols. And then, of course, the beautiful artwork as well. But those keywords on the top and bottom, they are the reversed meaning keywords as well as the upright meaning of each card. So if you're a beginner in tarot, or you want to get somebody into tarot this holiday season, or you just want a deck that is like really easy to define, this deck is so good. It's like so good for a beginner. And it comes in both this lighter version, which is so pretty. And then it also comes, of course, in a darker version. And I'll show that to you as well, just so you can see. They're the exact same. One is just lighter and one is just darker, but comes with all the same stuff. And I'll just pull half of this one out to show it to you. But like, are you kidding? Look at how beautiful. So pretty. So pretty. And just so easy to read. So if you're looking for a gift, or like I said, something for yourself this holiday season, I just really feel like the Lucid Dreams Tarot Beginner Tarot Deck and Guidebook by Saint Solil. I apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it's just such a great set. Both sets are so beautiful. And I also feel like something that needs to be noted is the cards themselves are also just like really high quality on like really good card stock. Like they feel so good in the hands. I always feel that way about all decks from Tarot Stack, to be honest, but both of these decks will be linked down below. We're going to use them in your reading today, along with some other tarot decks as well from Tarot Stack. So if you're looking for a gift this holiday season, something for yourself or something for a beginner, I feel like this deck, honestly, whether you're a beginner or not, is just a good one for the collection. So definitely check it out. And thank you so much, Tarot Stack. Let's go ahead and get into your reading. All right, pile number 3, I'm going to go ahead and put your crystal up over here, and we're going to get started using those cards that I was just showing to you. So we have the Two of Pentacles starting out. Oh my goodness, we have the World. Pile number 2 also had the World. We have the Seven of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the Six of Cups. Okay, cute. Oh my gosh, this card is so cute. Those little like angel babies on here, so cute. All right, let me go ahead and make these look nice for you, and then we will talk about it. I feel like every reading today has been a little connected, because yours is obviously the last pile, but I feel like every pile today had something in common. Like pile number 2 had the World card, and you have it, and then in the other two piles, or in the other pile, sorry, pile number 2 and 1 also shared a commonality. So really interesting. But what I am getting right now is that you are definitely trying to juggle and balance a lot right now, but I think you're actually doing an excellent job. So Spirit is saying that you are going through an evolution right now where you are actually moving into a new life cycle. So if you didn't know, I would actually encourage you to look back to what 7 years ago was for you, because karmic cycles run in 7-year cycles. And oftentimes you'll find that every 7 years, something changes. So like, for example, this is why they say like the 7-year itch, right? In marriages, if a marriage lasts 7 years, you're probably going to do at least another 7-year cycle. if like even in career, I've noted in my own life, every 7 years, I tend to pivot in a really major way. And I'm on the precipice of that right now, personally. So I feel like there's something about 7 years, and it's not like every 7 years something shifts. It's like from conception of something. So like if today you started something new that you carried for the next 7 years, that would be a cycle. But you could already be midway through a different cycle with a different friendship or something. So I would just say look back to 7 years ago and ask yourself like what started at that time. It would have been 2017. I feel like you are currently pivoting into a new cycle from 2017. And when I see the Two of Pentacles as the significator, though, it's just like a lot of juggling, but I think you've really got a handle on it. It's not like everything's all over the place and chaotic. With the Seven of Wands, I do feel like a lot of energy has maybe been directed towards you that has felt difficult. Not that you aren't handling things well, but like maybe there's just been a lot of like personal connections that have felt hard over the last little while. Maybe you felt like you don't really resonate with others, or you've had more like problems with others, or just like, I don't even want to say it's been like fighting necessarily, but maybe just like disagreements here and there. There's been a little bit of unrest in that category of your life. With the Knight of Swords, I do feel like you mentally have been feeling a lot more like open and stimulated, and you have been like wanting to explore new hobbies, new ideas, new creative pursuits, something that like mentally challenges you in a fun way, you've been really pursuing. And then Six of Cups, I feel like there's a lot of new, but there's a lot of old showing up in your reading. We've got kind of a dash of both, because the Six of Cups, this is about like an old connection showing up in your life again, whether this is a family member, a friend, this could be like a childhood friend. It's having like a meaningful connection with someone though from the past. So I would say that if this hasn't happened yet, it could be about to, like somebody from your past rolling up to say, hey, maybe it's something that the two of you also like used to do together that like you're getting back to. Or I find that when we explore old hobbies that become new, sometimes it brings us back to people we used to do those hobbies with, right? So there could be a little bit of like an older connection showing up for you. But ultimately, as far as like hope goes, where the hope is that you do need to know that a new leaf is turning over. Every single reading today has had this theme coming up in one way or another. And there is a new leaf being turned over. There is a new season of your life coming through. And I think that, you know, I was talking to pile number 2 about this, that it's not, we as humans think that bad times are going to last forever. And they don't. They last a lot less time than we particularly might think. They tend to pass us a lot faster than we think. And there's this misconception that all of us are guilty of where we think that if we lay down, we're never going to get up again. We think that if we allow ourselves to feel it, to explore it, we're never going to move past it. And the thing is, it's just not true. Bad times end, upsetting times end, cycles of life end, and new ones start. And I think for you, this is actually going to be a really welcomed and comforting thing. Not because, again, I don't think that you've been in necessarily like a bad place, but I do feel like you have needed some change. Honestly, I don't think you were in a bad place, but I do think when you get out of this cycle, which you are right now, you're going to realize how bad it actually was. Because I think that you've had like a very positive outlook about it, but I think you're going to realize in hindsight how bad for you it actually was. But I do see that we have the card of rehabilitation for you. So I do feel like you are going to get some time to really rest and reflect, which I think is going to be good and healthy. I also see the card of beauty sleep for you. So this is going to be about you prioritizing your sleep hygiene, getting more sleep, getting better sleep. If you feel like that's something that's been on the fritz for you a little bit, I do see that that's going to be getting a lot better. And you're going to be feeling a lot more like safe. I feel like that's the thing that I'm hearing is like, you feel like things have been okay, but once you start to feel the peace that is about to enter your life from this, you're going to realize, oh, actually, this was really bad. Like, I didn't have a moment of peace there. And now suddenly I feel safe. I feel protected. I feel peaceful. I feel like I can sleep at night. And you're going to go, actually, it was a lot worse than I thought. But I think while you were in it, it was a good thing that you kept your optimism about it. Okay. Then we also have for you, let your heart lead you. You hold an internal roadmap with the whale shark. So this is saying like follow your heart more, even though we have the Knight of Swords, which is very like headstrong, following your mind and your intellect. Spirit is ultimately saying that like you do need to bring your heart into it too. Where does your heart want to lead you? What does your heart want you to get invested in? And I also see that this is number 22. So you might have like 22 or 222 as an angel number. Then we also have gigantic oceanic manta ray life. Life is a marathon. Don't burn yourself out in one sprint. So I also feel like you are going to be moving really fast in this next chapter of life, but you need to recognize that it's all going to come in time. Like think about things that you've done that you've gotten really good at that maybe you don't even realize, like eating with a fork, okay? Or chopsticks or whatever you use. You don't think about how there was a time in your life where you couldn't do that, right? And now it's like second nature. You don't even have to think about it. You just pick your silverware out of the drawer and you eat, right? Whatever your utensil of choice is. This is how everything in life is. If you want to be good at something, if you want to master something, it's not in a marathon. You don't need to get good in 2 months. It can take time to kind of iron this stuff out. And you're being told not to burn yourself out in the beginning and to just like let yourself try. And then we have the card of Dream, Build Castles in the Sky. So with Dream, Build Castles in the Sky, I feel like every pile has kind of gotten this as well, or at least maybe it was just pile number 1 that we talked about, where you haven't really felt like you could dream big in a long time. And Spirit is saying that this chapter that's opening for you, you're finally in a place where you're like, actually, I can let myself dream. It's safe for me now to let myself dream bigger, to let myself explore what I really want and let myself really imagine how great and how big it could be. And don't let yourself pull back. Let yourself get as big as you want to. And I actually encourage that. I don't think I've mentioned this to anyone else today, but I feel like it applies to your reading. I actually have on my website, KloeeTaylor.com, I have a manifestation like course situation. It's called Vision Board to Destiny. I'm only bringing it up because I think this would really be beneficial for you if you picked this reading. It's all about like making a vision board, but the vision board isn't even really the part of it that is the most helpful. It's the workbook that comes with that course, which is like, I think it's like $22. The workbook that comes with that course, if you feel like you're somebody that hasn't been able to get into your dream life or figure out what you actually want in this lifetime, that is the workbook that will help you get to the bottom of it. I promise you, I use the method myself. It is the thing I return to every time I want to dream something new into being. It just asks the right questions, because when you ask the right questions, you ask quality questions, you get quality answers. And there's questions within it that you wouldn't even think to ask yourself that will help you get to the bottom of what you actually want instead of just like surface level things. So I would highly encourage looking into that if you would like to pick it up for yourself. But with Dream, the sky's the limit, baby. Like dream as big as you want. Take it as far as you want. This is your sign. This is your permission slip if you've been waiting. And ultimately, I feel like your reading is a lot more simple in the sense that you just need to be told that like you're on the right track. Things are changing for you in a positive way. You are going to be stepping into a more comforted, peaceful pocket of your life where I think previously maybe that hasn't been the case. You're going to realize how good your next situation actually is. And you're meant to be pacing yourself and just enjoying the ride right now instead of go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. You know, it's okay to like take your time with these things. And the hope that you really needed out of this reading, like looking at it as a whole, is that there is peace coming in general. There is peace coming. You're not going to, like, I think also something that everybody's been needing today in these readings is you need to know that it will not always be this way. And like, you will experience peace again. You will sleep through the night again. You will be able to come back and hit that relaxation point. You're not just meant to live your life on autopilot, stressed out forever. And you're getting there. You're taking this step-by-step action, especially with this Two of Pentacles as your significator. You're taking that action to get there. Don't let anybody stop you on your journey towards it. And that is what I have for you, pile number 3. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. And if you would like more from me, like I said, my course is available. You can also tip me for my readings if you would like to. Information on that down below. I have my podcast, The Cozy Babes Club, available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Would definitely encourage you to give it a listen if you haven't already. And I also have my socials. I'm at Kloee Taylor on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. I'm at Kloee Taylor across the board, spelled exactly how it is here. So definitely give me a follow if you would like that. And of course, my Patreon, which is where you can get ad-free content. There's pick-a-cards there. There's monthly astrology and tarot reports. There's also, like, that's where a lot of my personal content goes. So if you want like vlogs and like long form behind the scenes kind of stuff, that's all available on my Patreon. There's almost 500 posts over there that when you join, you actually gain access to all of them. So anything that you maybe would have missed too, there's a plethora of information over there, masterclasses, so much stuff. My Patreon is fire. Okay. I give a lot to my patrons. So check that out. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I'll talk to you in the next one.